Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Live Free Now show, bringing you the news, views, tips, and tools you can use to live a free, prosperous, and healthy life. John Bush coming at you, along with the one, the only, Manity.
What up, y'all?
What up? Let's take a look. Let's see, Manity. Hold on. I'm going to zoom in. Manity has an injury. You see, Manity likes to eat meat. What kind of meat, you might ask? Beef and pig. He also likes sardines.
Oysters.
He's a meat guy, this freaking guy. Anyway, I'm going to zoom in real quick. That's camera 4, camera 4, camera 4. All right, let's see what you got there, Ryan. Check out this wound. Look at that hatchet wound. What happened here, Ryan? I'll focus.
It's a little blurry.
No, we'll focus. We got all the controls we need. Go ahead and let us know what happened because people are watching.
All right.
We got a podcast audience too.
I was cooking my normal breakfast of half a pound of bacon and 9 eggs. And when I went to, it's not focusing. I thought you said you had the tools.
I don't know what I'm doing.
When I went to flip the eggs, because I like them over easy, I spilled bacon grease all over my hand and got this gnarly flesh wound here that has been hurting pretty bad for a little while. So today it's pretty well scabbed up. So I took the bandage off, just let it breathe a little bit. But yes, it is quite painful, and I will be wearing oven mitts next time I'm cooking bacon and eggs. But ever since, it's actually pretty funny. I've been just making beef in the morning, so I don't have to. I have a little PTSD from that bacon grease.
Bacon TSD.
Bacon TSD. BTSD.
Okay. All right. So that's Rye Guy, a.k.a. Manity. This is Live Free Now show. We hope that you'll subscribe to the podcast. Maybe like it on YouTube. Maybe like it on Twitter. Maybe you like it hot like scalding bacon grease. Either way, we got you covered. I do want to invite you to subscribe to the podcast also if you're one of those podcast geeks. livefreenow.show. livefreenow.show is the podcast, the Pod Geek. Let's go ahead and shout out one of our sponsors before. We're going to be joined by Hakeem Anwar of Above Phone. He's got an incredible team. He's got incredible technology. We have one of the Above books right here. And, of course, he has the Above Phone. I get to use my Above Phone quite extensively down in Mexico. Mexico. Ven por tu gente para siempre. Huevatos locos por vida. Was at Monerotopia. I'll give you a little recap of that event here shortly before we hear from Hakeem, the Wet Dream. But he will be joining us to talk about Above Phone. And he's got a really incredible Black Friday special coming up, guys. Black Friday, as you know, is a great opportunity to take advantage of hot deals on incredible items. This is actually an incredible electronic device that is very meaningful in that it allows you to opt out of the big tech surveillance paradigm. So we're going to be joined by Hakeem here in a good 25 minutes or so. But before we go to Hakeem, let us share a word about one of our other sponsors here. As soon as I can figure out how to work this properly. What the hell is this? Here we go.
He doesn't like it.
I don't know what's going on. We switched to an easier platform, but it's got a learning curve. Okay, our good friend Jonathan England over at Earth Waking Village is a proud sponsor of this show. Jonathan England at Earth Waking Village. He's a swell guy. He created his own eco-village on a 5-acre property with 55 people there. And he's doing this webinar where he'll teach you how to create an eco-village, how you can live the off-grid dream life. And if you don't want to build one yourself, he actually gives you an exclusive invite to come spend some time down there with him. Ryan spent some time down there. What was it like, Ryan?
Yeah, guys, it was absolutely awesome. We really delved deep into each other's emotions and unresolved traumas, stuff like that, which I realized is actually a core piece of community, going through hard things together. I actually also have a men's group, and that's one of our core ideologies is going through hard things together. So after I went for what was called the Remember Experience, after the Remember Experience, I even said this to the group. It was like 70 or so people. I said, I feel like if I was walking around in the grocery store and I saw one of you, that I would just give you like a wink and a nod, because we both went through that together. And I felt so close with everybody there. And it really is just an amazing community. They figured out how to do it. Everybody wants to be a part of one or wants to create their own. Well, Earthwaking Village has already done it. They have it all set up. They have buildings built for you to live in and everything. They just want you to visit. They just want you to come down there and see if it's for you. So I would definitely encourage you to go to offgriddreamlife.com. Register for one of Jonathan's webinars. He'll break it all down for you over the course of 2-3 hours. And then you can make a decision whether you'd like to actually go down and visit Costa Rica. It was an honor and a privilege, and I can't wait to go back, honestly.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Follow the link there in the show notes. That's the best way to connect, or head to offgriddreamlife.com. And we got one other sponsor on the program besides Hakeem with Above Phone. They're a sponsor. We're going to do an in-depth interview with him. We'd love to take your questions about privacy tech and about opting out of all that big tech nonsense. But why don't you tell us, Ryan, about the Live Longer Formula, livelongerformula.com, our other sponsor here on the program.
Yeah, guys, absolutely. So Christian Yordanov, he is one of our sponsors over at livelongerformula.com. And he's an amazing holistic health practitioner. He helps people work with basically any ailment that you're dealing with, whether it be skin issues like my lovely wife. She worked with Christian with her eczema, and it got dramatically better over the course of a couple of months, to where, her hands looked really, really bad. And then after those couple of months, you couldn't even tell that she had eczema. But not only skin ailments, gut issues, if you're a little bit overweight, a little bit underweight, maybe if you have IBS, or, any number of things. Christian is truly a holistic health practitioner. He can cover all of those things. And one of the most powerful aspects is that he gives you direct access to him through the client patient portal that he has. My lovely wife, Elizabeth, was able to reach out to him anytime she had questions, whether it be about certain food that she may or not be eating, a particular supplement that she'd like to incorporate. But, Christian would say, oh, maybe not that one right now. It's not really going after what we're trying to address. And he can really break it down for you and help you understand. I really do think that it's amazing to work with Christian. He has a huge scope of knowledge, and he comes with the LFA stamp of approval, because I've seen with my own eyes what he can do for you. So I would encourage all of you to go to livelongerformula.com or visit the link down in the description. That's probably going to be the best way, so you can help support us, help support him. But go to livelongerformula.com.
Live long and prosper. Okay. All right, folks, there's a lot going on in the world. So thanks to our sponsors, but I wanted to talk for a second about old Roger Ver. Roger Ver, he was a friend of mine. He was the Bitcoin Jesus, total badass, this guy, Roger Ver. And he was a voluntarist. Let me tell you about him here, because he's locked up in prison right now because of the damn government. And he wrote this awesome book called Hijacking Bitcoin. But essentially, Roger, back must have been the early 2000s, he was an entrepreneur. He did well, made millions of dollars. He had an online store. He got into internet online commerce really early. And he started running for Congress and political campaigns as a libertarian, because he came to learn that the United States government is a criminal enterprise that has no care for human beings and is content to just murder and maim people all over the world, extracting taxes from their citizens in order to carry out dastardly deeds. To be frank, that's what the United States government's all about. And he was running for Libertarian Party Congress, I believe. He was giving a speech at some summit or some forum or whatever the hell. And he was railing on the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and the role that they played in the Ruby Ridge massacre. It might have even been Waco, actually, but probably the Ruby Ridge massacre. And this is just my recounting. I've heard him tell the story. He told me the story in interviews. Anyway, there was an ATF agent in the audience, and they were not happy about that. They must have had their panties in a bunch and got all ego butthurt about it. Long story short, They opened an investigation into his website because he was selling what the government deemed to be illegal explosives. I believe it was like a quarter stick of dynamite, which is used often on farms. In fact, I remember being on my uncle Doug's farm where my dad grew up, and there was a diamondback rattlesnake. No, maybe it was a copperhead. It was a copperhead or a diamondback rattlesnake. And it was actually right at the foot of a tree where we were playing hide and go seek. This was our base.
Diamond head.
There's no diamond head. It's a hybrid.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy. The diamond head snake rattler. And it was there at the base of the tree. Anyway, long story short, my uncle got this quarter stick of dynamite, which he normally used to scare off birds or animals in the farm, and tossed it there in the coiled up snake, and it exploded the snake. It was really great. Anyway, I'm pretty damn sure it was one of these quarter stick of dynamite firecrackers, glorified firecrackers. Long story short, they ended up prosecuting him. Nobody in history had been prosecuted for that crime. There were countless other online stores that sold the same damn thing, but it was obviously political retaliation. He goes to jail for a year. I think it was a year. And when he's released, he's like, this is ridiculous. I got to get the heck out of here. Well, along the way, he learned about Bitcoin. He was an early Bitcoin evangelist, starting in 2010, 2011, maybe even earlier. In fact, I was at Liberty Forum in 2012. There's this really popular video of Roger at Liberty Forum. And he, along with Charlie Shrem and Eric Voorhees, some of these original OG Bitcoin guys, were talking about Bitcoin. He gave this really sweet explanation of it. Anyway, long story short, he got into Bitcoin early. He started accepting it for his business. He started investing in many key Bitcoin businesses like BitPay. He earned the name Bitcoin Jesus for helping to proselytize and evangelize Bitcoin. In fact, I could honestly say Bitcoin wouldn't be as advanced as it is today were it not for those early foundations being seeded, those early enterprises being seeded by Roger Ver, being generous with the money that he earned. So he wanted to actually renounce his citizenship and get the hell out of Dodge. And he left, I don't know if it was 2014, 2015. And he left the country. He hired an accountant and attorneys, and he paid an exit tax. A lot of people aren't familiar. If you renounce your citizenship and you try to move away from the country, the government wants to tax you big time, right? It's basically, and it's them demonstrating that they think they own us, which is weird. We're like tax cattle slaves. Long story short, fast forward to the modern day, Roger continues to do interviews, continues to speak at conferences. He, in fact, writes a book called Hijacking Bitcoin that illustrates the dastardly efforts of centralized services, MasterCard, banking interests, and the predator class, essentially, to neuter Bitcoin's radical and revolutionary roots and foundation as a peer-to-peer electronic cash aimed at helping people to trade outside of the system with government not being able to do anything. It wasn't but that long ago that Bitcoin's intention and the trajectory of Bitcoin was to rival Visa, especially to rival Venmo and PayPal. But unfortunately, Bitcoin was not allowed to scale due to all sorts of infighting within the community. But that infighting was influenced by larger companies like Blockstream, which were influenced in part by Jeffrey Epstein and other shadowy figures. Larry Summers, the former Department of Treasury Secretary, that was the architect of the bailouts in large part. He was an advisor and on the board of this Blockstream company. He writes this book that's like really a tell-all about the censorship in this block size war debate. And about 2 or 3 weeks after the book was published, he gets arrested and indicted. He was in Spain when he got arrested. Long story short, he's now facing, 109 years in prison, something absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to go ahead and share this link. There's a Zero Hedge article that the one, the only Aaron Day, somebody I got to spend quite a bit of time with, over at Monerotopia. I need to move stuff around here. Where the hell is it? The comments. Oh, man. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to use this new platform. There is chat. Let me share this there in the link. This is an article by Aaron Day outlining everything. I hope you guys will give it a look. Roger Ver, there's now a movement, much like the Free Ross movement, to free Roger Ver. I hope that you'll join along. I'm not a big petition guy, but there is a petition that you can sign. And as you can see, there's lots of exposure coming to this cause. You can follow this article here on Zero Hedge that I just shared. It outlines everything. Aaron Day, who again is a total badass, he has been really sounding the alarm and spreading the message here. And his articles as of late have been posted on Zero Hedge. So great guy. He was involved. Yeah, I first encountered Roger's work in 2012 at the Free State Project event called Liberty Forum. I was at that same event, actually. In fact, I did an interview with them way early. I wish I could dig that up. I have no idea where it is. I don't know that it even got published. But yeah, check out this article, Why Roger Ver Deserves a Presidential Pardon. And I hope you guys will consider hopping on board this movement. Let me know in the chat. We got quite a few people watching on YouTube, quite a few people watching on X. Let me know if you guys are familiar with Roger Ver, if you've read the book, what you think about the government doing lawfare. They did lawfare against President Trump, of course, lawfare against Ross Ulbricht and the Silk Road. And now they're doing lawfare against good old Roger Ver. I'll share an interview that I did with him 3 years ago as well. He sponsored, I used to go on these cross-country Bitcoin-only road trips. And Roger sponsored our event and helped us to get the word out and spread the word. With
Bitcoin Cash, right?
Well,
he's a big Bitcoin Cash guy.
He's a Bitcoin.com guy. And now, yes, he helped to promote Bitcoin Cash when all that sprung up. So is this the video? Let me see if this is a cool video. We'll play this video and then sweet. Okay. Let me play this video for you guys. Let me reshare so I can make sure that the screen gets shared, that the sound also share tab audio. All right, so we're going to play this video, and then we'll get some commentary from Manitty, and free Roger Ver.
I want to tell you about my own story about being tortured in federal prison in the United States.
Roger Ver, unfortunately, today he got arrested.
Free Roger.
Free Roger. The real reason that I actually went to prison is because I was busy saying things like the things that I'm going to say in this video. Taxation is theft, and war is mass murder, funded by theft.
Roger, Bitcoin Jesus himself, was a true pioneer.
Here you've got one of the most independent people in the world preaching and teaching people to individually empower themselves around the globe.
He's been very supportive of the work we do.
He's also an inspiration to a lot of people around the globe.
I couldn't express any more of how great of a person he was.
In 2014, Roger Ver left the United States. America apparently is the land of the free. You should be free to just leave.
The United States government considers you to be their property.
Roger paid millions of dollars to the United States government, and they're saying now that it's not enough.
You read the quotes from his lawyer, it's like, this is the evidence of someone trying to comply with the law.
He did everything according to the book.
Nobody's ever gone to jail for that, ever.
The DOJ is actually using the Bitcoin Jesus term. They're literally going to crucify Bitcoin Jesus.
Just because some people get together and write down words on a piece of paper and call it a law, that doesn't alter morality one bit.
They're using the Trump case as a template for how they can go after any dissident.
This is very scary, frankly, 10 years later.
Government and central banks do not want this story out there.
The truth doesn't bend to whether or not we like it being the truth or not.
Roger's a good guy, and we all owe him a lot. It's really sad.
To say that he is instrumental in Bitcoin would be a radical understatement.
He's really believed in Bitcoin for the reasons that people should believe in Bitcoin.
It disgusts me at my core when I see government murdering people around the world. And Bitcoin has the power to undermine everything they're doing to people around the world.
Is it a coincidence? The only guy that's ever been criminally prosecuted on an exit tax interpretation is the guy that was exposing the intelligence community's attempts to infiltrate the Bitcoin movement.
There's nothing we can do to change the past, but we can work together to change the future.
From this moment forward, I'm on the same side as Roger.
Free Roger.
Free Roger.
Free Roger.
It's as crazy a case as you can possibly imagine.
There you go. FreeRogerNow.com. FreeRogerNow.com. What do you think there, Mr. Manitty?
To me, the first thing that comes to mind is that's what happens to people who are actually trying to make real change. And, we have a lot of promises coming from the Trumpster that he's going to deliver all of this radical change and this and that. And he just got selected to the presidency. So, and then I look at a guy like Roger Ver, who's actually making real change, actually making real, he's exposing what is going on, the infiltration into Bitcoin, and he wrote Hijacking Bitcoin and all of that kind of stuff. And look at what they're doing to him. They're tarring and feathering him. They're crucifying Bitcoin Jesus, as it were. So that's, the mark of someone who's for real, right? Because in the conspiracy community, we're always like, oh, this guy is controlled opposition or this and that. But to me, if you're going through this kind of hell and still preaching the message of, taxation is theft, war is mass murder, all these kinds of things, you're a real one. So my heart goes out to Roger. And, if Trump presidentially pardons him, we can all get behind that, right?
Yeah. Trump may not be so bad if he pardons Ross and pardons Mr. Roger Ver. So, yeah, Catherine Martin says, let me get the chat here. Catherine says, wow, I didn't know anything about Roger. That's frightening. Yeah, and the big challenge, too, is like he paid his exit tax. He paid the exit tax, and he still got in trouble. It's a clear case of retaliation. It's also the case, too, that his lawyers are like, oh, so you think that we didn't pay enough of the tax? What do we owe you? Like by now, this was 2014. I'm sure you want some interest, too. Like, let us know what we got to pay. But instead, they're criminally prosecuting him instead of it being a civil matter where they're just like, F, you pay me, you miscalculated, or we went and had some of our forensic accountants figure this out. No, they're trying to put him in jail for, it was 109 years, right? Did I get that right? Yep. Yeah, that's what it said in the video too. So pretty scary stuff there. Let me share a video. If you guys want to dive deeper, I asked Roger about his background, his bio, his beliefs. One of the things that's really hard too is Roger is like very, even though you could see the tenacity in that video, he's actually like really soft and started crying at the beginning of this interview that I did with him when he was recounting about young children getting killed. I think he actually was talking about kids in Palestine, and this was 3 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
So he's a total badass. He totally gets it. I just dropped the link there in the comments. Stick with us though. We got Hakeem coming up, but bookmark that, watch that video. It was a hour and 20-minute video with Roger and I talking about his background, talking about voluntarism. And then we do get into Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash. And, the sad part is I didn't even bring up the Bitcoin Cash aspect, but during this split between, again, it was like this effort to increase the size of the blocks on the Bitcoin blockchain. Because if there's only so much throughput capacity, if there's only so much data that can be held on each block, the data is the transactions that just took place, then there's only it's only such a level that Bitcoin can scale as far as how many transactions per second can take place. Right now, it's like 7 transactions per second, which can nowhere compete with Visa, PayPal, all these other platforms. And so a lot of people, Roger Ver, myself at the time, were like, hey, we should just increase the size of the block. Now I was just messaging here and posting online and talked about it in some videos here and there. Roger Ver was like, let me put my wealth into pushing this. Let me get the ideas out there, interviews. And unfortunately, because of some co-option that he details in his book, Hijacking Bitcoin, the small blockers won and the Bitcoin blockchain size, the block size remained small. And then this narrative started to come into play where Bitcoin isn't digital cash. It's not electronic cash. It's not a MOE or medium of exchange. It's a SOV, a store of value. It's digital gold, which is still pretty damn cool, but it's not nearly as revolutionary as having Bitcoin as a peer-to-peer electronic cash that enables us to trade with one another outside the system. Buying and holding a digital asset is not nearly as subversive, especially if now all of a sudden the government and the Trump administration are starting to hold that asset and use it to shore up dollar hegemony, and then use this whole US dollar stablecoin thing to push dollar hegemony into Latin America, which is, a classic age-old move that the United States government, the IMF, and the CIA has been doing to get their grubby fingers into Latin America and their resources. So,
which is a Bilderberg plan, one of the Bilderberg staple
the Bildies.
Plans. Yep.
And the Bildies, unfortunately, got their fingers in the Trump administration, and they got their fingers in some of the Bitcoin stuff too.
That's right.
So Roger took it upon himself to fund and finance, and there was this split, and Bitcoin Cash was created. Bitcoin Cash is still alive and well, still far superior as far as electronic cash goes than Bitcoin. But unfortunately, there's a lot of Bitcoin maximalists that are just pure Bitcoin all the way, and they reject everything else as a quote unquote shit coin, that are like cheering the fact that, this asshole Max Kaiser. Fuck Max Kaiser. Fuck him. Fuck Max. Fuck you. He used to be cool, and like way back in the day was like all conspiratorial, and he pushed back on JP Morgan, who still is to this day suppressing the price of silver, and had this cool campaign like, let's bust out JP Morgan by rising up the price of silver. Anyway, then he became hardcore Bitcoin maximalist, very toxic. And then he's just recently saying like, yeah, Roger tried to hijack Bitcoin. He deserves to be in prison. Like, this guy's a total ass clown.
What?
It just says a lot. Yeah. Yeah, he's a clown. He's a clown. All right. So anyway, free Roger Ver, freerogernow.com is the website, freerogernow.org, freerogernow.org. There's videos, there's interviews. Go check them out. Go learn more about this incredible person, and sign the petition. Do what you can to help him get out. All right, we got Hakeem waiting in the wings. Before we get to Hakeem, I do want to share, I was just at Monerotopia. Monerotopia.com is the website. Got to catch up with Aaron Day, who was in that video and is a huge champion for Roger. Also got to catch up with Sterling Lujan, who was also in that video. Hung out with my good friend Derek Bros. And it was a great event. I got to share about my vision for the Confederation of Freedom Communities, and I got to learn more about Monero. There was this really incredible market, an open air market, a true agora with all sorts of Mexican folks that are locals there. And they were selling all sorts of cool shirts and wares and spiritual stuff and incense and cannabis and gummies. And then one of the vendors was selling magic mushrooms, psilocybin. And she had these 4 big tubs, like a tub that was like 5 inches tall, just a plastic tub full of mushrooms, like the actual cap mushrooms. And there were varying degrees of strength, and she was accepting Monero for it. It was, I was like, wow, this is some counter economics, I tell you what. Anyway, was able to buy food with Monero, was able to buy some Christmas gifts for my parents with Monero, went out to dinner with some friends. My good friend Juan Galt, who was always fun to hang out with. It was like a reunion from when I went to Acapulco way back in the day. This guy Jason was there as well. Anyway, a lot of good friends, met some new people, but we'd like buy dinner, and then one person would pay with their card, and then we'd split the bill by sending Monero, a little bit of Bitcoin Cash in there. But it was a good time. And, segue to our next guest, we actually had Hakeem on not too long ago. And Hakeem was giving us some updates and some detailed analysis. And it was cool to see. I could tell he's diving into the technical aspects of a lot of the stuff of how the IRS was trying to crack into Bitcoin and figure all this stuff out, Monero. And it wasn't actually Monero that was vulnerable. It was practices that were vulnerable. Well, I think this is a really good indicator, and it really illustrates that Hakeem has this real solid technical know-how. And not only is he gaining a better understanding of Monero and how the IRS is trying to attack it, right? But I can tell he's learning that. He's in the process of learning. We never stop learning. But one thing that he has in large part mastered and become a true expert on is overcoming big tech, specifically your phone, and now even going as deep as your laptop and your personal computing device, how those devices are just constantly sending out signals, tracking your every move. And so Hakeem started a company, Above Phone, where he actually sells these incredible phones. He takes out the guesswork and all the hard work of taking off the operating systems, which are a key piece of the problem. It's called Above Phone. They're sponsored this program. He's got an incredible Black Friday sale coming up. We're going to tease that a little bit, but definitely we'll let you know here on the program what that's all about. Let's go ahead and bring up Hakeem, our good buddy and pal and total radical. How are you there, Mr. Hakeem?
Hey guys, I'm doing great. It's good to see
his audio works.
Isn't that crystal clear?
Well, now our audio's messed up.
Oh, come on.
You there?
That's yeah. I'm coming in loud and clear.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
hey,
like
nice studio setup you got there.
It's beautiful.
Thanks, man. I built most of it myself. Oh, the wood in the back, I sanded it. Dang, that takes a long time.
No way.
Wood. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a fun little project, but I feel like as counter economists, like we need to do better than the regular podcasters. So I'm trying to step up the game, and I see you guys are too. I'm liking what you guys got there.
Let's go. Okay, great. All right, a lot of folks are familiar with your work. Many people already have the above phone, but why don't you introduce yourself to the audience, people that may not be familiar with you?
Sure. So my name's Hakeem. Originally started off working in this space back in 2019. In my career, I was a software engineer. I built web and mobile applications, and it was cool. I learned a lot. I've touched a lot of different parts of the technology world, everything from robotic process automation to predictive analytics and all these things. But the work was never fulfilling. So I hopped around a lot. But in 2019, I met Derek Rose for the first time, and that was when I started helping out with the Freedom Cell Network. So through that, I got to see the true power of technology, and I've been working with you guys ever since on different projects here and there. Also with the Greater Reset Conference, I think that was the dream team, the trio. And off of that, I realized, hey, I needed to make my mark. And I also saw that if there's anyone who needs help on the technology side, after seeing the Freedom Cell be attacked by Google, by these spammers who came out of nowhere, I was like, if there's anyone who needs protection, it's us. So I decided to devote my life educating people on how to use friendly technology. I've been a Linux user for almost a decade now. And I was like, okay, I think this is something people are going to benefit from. So I started a educational initiative called Take Back Our Tech. And then I also founded a company called Above. And that's been going on for 4 years. Now we have thousands of customers, and we sell phones, we sell laptops and communication services. But the most important part is the message behind it. Because if we're not using our technology or these tools with intention, then it means nothing. So I'm looking to bring back spirituality into technology. I'm looking to bring back freedom into technology. And I'm going to show you a bunch of cool stuff today, showing you how you can actually build these counter-economic systems.
Let's roll. Okay. Is that not bringing me back up? We're using Restream now, and I'm still trying to dial it in because usually we were getting all technical with Wirecast, but trying to make it simpler, but it's actually more complex because I'm not used to it. Anyway, cool. So you actually have some stuff to show to us, huh?
I do, yeah. I can put on the phone at any time. So if people have a question, like show me how to do this on the phone, we'll show it for you live. I've got the phone right here. You can kind of see my arm moving.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and then I've also got the laptop, which John, I don't think we ever looked at the laptop together, but we could also do that. So I'm going to show you how it's all integrated together today. But before that, we can talk a little bit about the webinar, which happened yesterday. So yeah, we had a webinar on Pegasus. You guys know about Pegasus, right?
No, fill us in.
Oh man, so it's a spyware that was making the rounds in 2016 to 2020, where all these journalists were realizing, oh, my phone is completely owned. And it was this Israeli spyware company called NSO, and they had this software called Pegasus. And so they basically showed Apple that, hey, we have a way to take over your phone all at once. And they were using this against journalists in the UAE, in Morocco, in Mexico as well. And so they would just sell their software out to the highest bidder. And this was a vulnerability that existed on Apple phones for a period of about 4 years, according to my research. But the only way we know about this is through organizations that work for human rights, such as Amnesty International and Citizen Lab, which they kind of have their own threat and security groups. And they actually were able to demo what happens. They were able to get one of their iPhones infected to see what happens, and they kind of track down how it all works. So the reason it's really crazy is because the NSO group and any government they sold to, they would just sell it to any government that was approved by the Israeli Defense Ministry. And once they had done that, they could use the software on any person. They didn't really care how they used it. So that's ridiculous that your own government or even a foreign government could go ahead and track down your phone. So this is more of like the security side. In the past, I've focused more on the privacy side, how our products protect you, your privacy from Google and Apple and others. But there's also the security side, which is a dimension we never went into. And it turns out most phones suck. Like it's really bad.
It's good to be getting that. It's good to be getting that information out there for sure. And so that's a piece of spyware that gets infected on people's phones. What are some of the practices that somebody could unwittingly install something like that?
Yeah, so when these organizations, they kind of broke down what was happening with the exploit. They saw bundles for recording your calls. They saw bundles for actually pulling data off particular apps like WhatsApp or Viber and to actually record those calls in real time. And all of these were happening with iPhones typically. So it was showing that the security posture for an iPhone was not there. And there was this differences. I know some people are asking to see the laptop. I'll show you guys that in just a second. But the difference was there was two types of attacks. There was a one-click attacks, and in the webinar, which will be posted, the replay is going to be posted today. If you guys go to abovephone.com/webinars, you guys can sign up for that, and you'll get the replay sent to your inbox. But so there was these one-click attacks where they would send you, like John, like imagine like you got a text message that said, something you would be super interested in, like, oh no, this like 2 free Monero, or opening a community in Bastrop, and there was just like this link in there for you to click. All it would take is for you to click, and your phone got owned. So they saw that people were doing that on iPhone for a very long time, but then it got worse. Then they came up with a way for a 0-click exploit, which means you don't have to do shit. You don't have to do anything. And they would own your phone like that. And all they had to do was send you a message on iMessage, if you can believe it or not. They just needed to know your iCloud account, and they could take your phone. And they were able to do this for a period of 3 years before Citizen Lab released a larger report, and Apple was like, oh, okay, let's patch it now. And they quietly fixed it. But it's just ridiculous, right? You expect so much better from big tech companies. Now, the problem is that there are so many evolving threats. Like there's a difference between known and unknown security vulnerabilities. Like the known security vulnerabilities, all you have to do is update, right? Because people know about them. The vendors are going to update their software, and then you're protected from those. But the unknown ones, we're not going to see those ones coming. Those are called the 0-day attacks. And that's why having a secure phone and a secure laptop are so important. Because to protect yourself from the unknown vulnerabilities that are for sure going to come out. So on this webinar that we did yesterday, we talked about all the different lower level things the Above Phone does to protect you. So
excellent. Good stuff. Good stuff. Can you talk about, before we look at the phone, because I know Catherine Martin here is excited to check that out. I'm excited to see. I'm sorry, before we look at the laptop, I've toyed around with it, and it seems pretty intuitive, which is really important for folks, especially for some of the older folks that are not really comfortable with tech. But what are some of the exploits and some of the vulnerabilities on a laptop? We've heard a lot about the phone stuff. People are familiar with that. But what should we watch out for on a laptop, and how does having an open source Linux operating system that's privacy oriented help on those fronts?
Yeah, the laptop is surprisingly a bit, well, not surprisingly, quite a bit safer, but there's two things I would call out. One is having full disk encryption, because if someone gets their hand on your laptop, they can extract everything from your laptop just by pulling the data off or by taking the hard drive out. If your data is not encrypted, so on Windows, there's something like BitLocker, which has caused problems with people's computers. But if you don't have something like that, or if your Linux laptop isn't full disk encrypted, I could literally walk up with a special USB and take your information, and anyone could for that matter. So anyone who's done the bit of research to pull something like that off. So this all of our laptops are full disk encrypted. That means you'll see a screen before the computer actually boots up, asking you to unlock the root volume, and so you can actually boot up into the rest of the computer. On the other side, like with laptops, it's a lot safer than a phone, because you're not having to deal with incoming text messages from randoms. And you're also not having to connect to cellular towers. For the most part, people usually connect to Wi-Fi. So because of that, you can trust the local Wi-Fi network a lot more, especially if it's at your house. It's hard for someone to come into your house and replace that. Whereas a phone, you're trusting the towers, and there are ways to spoof towers, as we saw with Pegasus. There was, I believe it was in Morocco, where they were going after this dude who ran an NGO, and they literally planted a rogue cellular unit next to him. He tried to visit a website, and we went through the tower, and it was like, oh, no, you're not getting yahoo.com. We're going to actually send you to a web page that loads the exploit. So again, he didn't have to do anything. So those are some scary things that can happen. But the good news is, if you are using a VPN on your phone, it is so much harder to be that man in the middle, right? Because you're going through this encrypted tunnel. So, with Above, we're not just doing a phone, we're not just doing a laptop, but we're building the ecosystem that combines it together. And your security is as strong, your privacy and security is as strong as your weakest link. So that's kind of our intention with the Black Friday sale. We want to get you set up with a phone, and we want to get you set up with a laptop.
Hey, Hakeem, can you kind of detail for me? So you're saying that people can send you these texts, and then they can infiltrate your phone through that text. How does Above Phone control for that so that people aren't infiltrated if they have an Above Phone?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So these exploits that I'm talking about, this is from the period of 2016 to 2023. So it's quite a long period, right? These are things that were discovered, different vulnerabilities in the Apple browser specifically. And on the Android side, there weren't that many, but there was problems with Google Chrome's browser at one point, and also Samsung's browser, even after they discovered the vulnerability. Samsung was lazy and they didn't patch it for a few months, right? So there were problems with those browsers, and also with the phone itself doesn't have any lower level protections, unlike the Above Phone, which uses Graphene OS, which, I've always been a big believer since day one, but doing a lot of this deep research has got me even more hyped about it. Like, it's crazy. It's light years ahead. For instance, there's a feature on modern ARM processors, which let me think a little bit about how to explain this eloquently, and so everyone can understand. But essentially, there are security features in modern processors that no one is using in the world. There's no phone that's using it except for these phones with Graphene OS, and it's called MTE, Memory Tagging Extension. And so what it does is it makes the memory on your phone it requires a lot more strictness. It's ensuring that whatever app is on your phone has the ability to change things in the memory. And those memory attacks are the majority of these exploits, how people can take control of your phone and whatnot. So there is a lot of lower level protections for something like the memory allocator. There's protections in like the processor instructions. There's protections in the operating itself to sandbox applications, all the way up. And so there is no phone that comes close to the protection you would get from Above Phone or Graphene OS.
Nice. I like that bold statement. Let's go.
Okay,
let's
it's just
go.
the truth. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I wouldn't say it if I didn't truly believe it. And yeah, so anyways, it's like, most people, they may not care so much. As here's what Apple said. I think it's funny. They're like, oh yeah, if you got targeted by this, put your phone in lockdown mode, which lockdown mode on an iPhone or an iPad, it like prevents people from sending pictures to it. Basically like neuters the entire iPhone. And it's like you'd have to do it before you got attacked. So you'd have to predict it. But in a lot of these cases, these activists that came out in these reports, they were being persecuted by the government. There's this dude in Saudi who they sent him to jail for, 8 months. When he came back, his car got stolen, like money was taken out of his accounts. The other dude was told by the Moroccan government, you're spreading propaganda. So, I mean, like, these are like known dissidents, I think that there's a good feeling and a bad feeling where it's like, okay, the bad feeling is like, oh shit, they can do this. But the good feeling is, all right, they preserve it. You kind of know you're on the shit list. So yeah, this is a sale there. If you guys go to We actually have a link, John. It's if you do abovephone.com/live free, I believe it should take you to the Black Friday sale. Let me confirm that. What do you think? Do you guys think you fall under the dissident category? Because I hear you guys talking a lot of shit about the Bilderberg Group.
Maybe a little. Maybe a little. I just dropped the link there. I don't know if does /live free work?
Yes, it does. That's the link I would use because it takes you to the Black Friday sale.
Yeah, abovephone.com/live free. And the Black Friday sale's live now.
It is live now till the end of the month. Here, if you want to put my screen on, I'll give you guys a tour. Yeah, so your link is linked up and ready to go, John. And so so the whole theme is winter is coming. You guys can see my screen, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
I can share screen on my end though.
All right. If you want to do that, let's see. Cool. Yeah. So if you scroll through this, so we've got it's talking about the phone and the book working together, and we have these bundle discounts. If you scroll down, we've got the. Yeah, so it's meant to work together. All the services that work on the phone work on the computer and vice versa. Like for instance, our Above VPN through Above Suite works on your phone, works on your book. And you can do things like make your own personal cloud, which I will demo for you today, what that looks like. So you don't have to require a third-party cloud service. You just use your phone and your laptop. And then these, we got the phones in stock. Those we got the new 9 series, which is one of the best phones you can get on the market today, just flat out. And I like them because you can choose the more powerful one. You can get a big and small version of it. And then we also have our older phones there. So if you purchase a phone, all of our devices are $100 off, everything on the store. But if you buy 2 of them, that's when the disc savings come in. And we've got these different laptops. We have a laptop that can fold all the way around and turn into a tablet. It even comes with a little stylus so you can draw on it. That is the Aluminum 5 and the Aluminum 6. And so the Aluminum 5 is our more mid-range laptop. The processor is a little bit older. The Aluminum 6 kind of has the best of both worlds. It's got a really nice body. It's got a fast processor, and you can still write on it. It's got that stylus. It folds in half. The Carbon and the Magnesium, those are more business class laptops. The Carbon comes in at a staggering 2.5 pounds. So light. Maybe for that special woman in your life who doesn't like carrying around heavy laptops, you could get the Carbon. The Magnesium is more of the chonky, as the kids say. It's a chonky one. It's more fat, but it's really powerful. And all of these are running an open source operating system that I'll show you in just a second.
Let's go ahead and take a look at what you got going. So let me pull this down.
And which model are you going to be demoing?
Yeah, good question. I'm demoing the Aluminum 6.
The Illuminati?
Oh, Illuminati, dude. I had a missed opportunity there, huh?
True.
This is what it looks like, the Above book. And, the model isn't going to matter so much right now. They're all going to kind of look like this. But if I had a camera behind me, I would show you what it looks like. It's beautiful. And so our goal with this was, can we create a Linux experience that you don't have to use the terminal at all? And so I tasked our engineers to come up with a method, and then we were able to find everything we needed to maintain a Linux system. So, I mean, there's only a few things you have to do to keep it running. You just update it every once in a while, and then you install the programs you want. John and Ryan, what types of software do you guys use? Is there anything you'd like to call out? Because this is the largest open source library in the world.
What about a video editing system?
All right, so we've video editing. There is different editing ones. There's VLC, as you saw earlier. There's also Kden Live, which I believe this actually comes on the machine. So here's Kden Live, and this is how easy it is to install it. You install it, you apply it, and then you put in your password, and then it'll automatically install for you. So you don't need to use a terminal at all. You can just use, you can just point and click everything on this machine. Here's how
these are free to download.
Everything is free to download. You're going to save money with this laptop in the long run. There's no paid software. The thing I like about Arch Linux, it's like an advanced version of Linux, but what it does is it brings the community back into the picture. So it lets people bundle their own software and share them. So you have access to the biggest software library in the world, meaning I could get things to edit documents. Let's see. My PDF editor should be in here.
Oh, nice. Those are always hard to come by on Windows.
Totally. And so this one is
the Acrobat.
Right. This one, let's just say you can use it to edit documents, all sorts of different documents, like in-depth and stuff. Yeah.
What about downloading something like Telegram that a lot of people use?
Boom, right there.
Sweet. Signal.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
How about dare I say it? Microsoft Teams. Oh shoot. Microsoft Teams there. Right?
Your favorite.
That's my boys. No, just kidding. Fuck you, Bill Gates. I'm coming for you.
Oh, come on. Let's go.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
You guys got me fired up. You guys were flicking off that other guy.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Max Kaiser, Bill Gates. You guys are in a lot of effing trouble. You
guys can cut that. You can cut that part.
Okay, all right. Let's talk.
Hold on. Before we go.
Whatever.
All right. So John does this little voice when he's talking to the dogs. All right. So how do you do it? Bill Gates in a lot of trouble. Bill Gates. You're in a lot of trouble. That Bill Gates is. That's how he talks to his dog.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You need to get a dog named Bill Gates.
Now we're talking. And
there you go.
Sorry.
All right, we're going third rail now.
All right.
Let's moderate debauchery.
Yeah, moderate debauchery.
All right, so check this out, guys. If you
switching the topics,
this isn't gonna help sell above phones.
Oh man!
All right, this is Hakeem's personal phone, so we got to watch the search history.
Yeah, you want to be careful where you swipe. So this is an above phone. It's set up to demo, and I'm going to show you a few things. I'm going to show you that the messaging is integrated. So I've got this chat window open here with a Robert Paulson shout out Fight Club, and I've got my phone open here. Right, this is an encrypted message that I can send from my phone. Hey, Robert, are we still doing the thing tonight? And then the local voice keyboard will automatically transcribe it in perfect English with punctuation, capitalization, all the things. And I can send it out. And when I look back at the laptop, the messages are all synced together. So this is a way to have end-to-end encrypted messaging.
Wow.
Between your phone and your laptop.
Than iPhone, for sure.
Right. It's private. It's more private than iPhone. You know, there are some nice things about iPhone, but you can kind of do all the same things with iMessage that you can do it on this device. And then the cool part is when you use your internet phone number, you can start texting from your laptop. So any of these people here. So FaceTime, you can do FaceTime, but it's in a different way. But you notice here, this is Alice Johnson, but she's got a phone number on here. So when I send her a text message, it goes out as a text message. That's thanks to the ecosystem. Let's see. Yeah, so if you want to look at
the messaging app that comes standard on the device.
That's right. It comes standard on Above Phone. So Above Phone and Above Book. So all you do is you open it up and you log in. And we have tutorials for all of this. So when you look at the main page for Above the Above Book course, it'll show you how to set up the chat and all that.
Cool. Good stuff.
You guys want to see the private cloud?
Let's go.
Yeah.
And I got a question too about support. Yeah. So that's one of the things that sets you guys apart. You know, a lot of tech companies or even mobile phone services, you call, you're on hold forever. You talk to an AI robot. You guys have human support. And I believe whenever they buy a phone, it comes with some support as well to help get set up.
Most definitely. We pride ourselves on having the best support in the game. I hear the Apple Genius bars, or whatever they're calling them, they're having a hard time. But our support is on point, and we have a free 45-minute call with every phone or every laptop, any device. You get to talk with a real person, just like John, Ryan, and I are talking right now. We literally sit down with you, and you can bring your old phone. You take your new phone or new laptop. We'll get some holy water. We'll sprinkle it on your old devices, exorcise the demons out of it, and then we can move all your stuff. That's a joke. So we've got that. We've got chat support. We've got chat and email support. And there's also a number you can call in now. And the thing I love about what we're doing is everyone on our team. It's an ideological based company. So everyone on the team, like, we know why we're doing this. We believe in freedom. We believe in privacy. And we know we're all in this together.
Excellent. Excellent. I wish I could say the same thing about my team. I work with a bunch of statist a-holes over here.
Oh, shit.
I'm just kidding.
No,
just kidding.
Like, what?
What? All right. You were going to show us the cloud function.
Okay. So check this out. So, oh, that's the wrong one.
So what is the cloud function anyway? What is that?
Yeah. So the cloud function is a way to sync files between your computer and your phone. So I'm going to take a picture right now. I'm actually going to show you how to, it's going to come up in a second. And I've been taking the same picture. I've been doing a lot of demos. So boom, I just took the picture, and we'll wait for it to show up on the device here. You can see my messy desk in the meantime. All right. And then go back to the computer. So I wasn't smiling in that picture. So just give it a second, and it will automatically bring the picture in. You can see some of my travels recently. I was in California, pictures of phones and stuff. So anytime I take a picture from my phone, it will sync up to this folder on my computer. Sometimes it takes a bit, but the software is called Sync Thing.
Should have taken a picture of those biceps. Looking good, bro.
Thanks, man. trying to yoke it up. Over here.
That's right.
Yeah, so I mean that's an example of how the syncing works, and then basically you can set up any folder on your device. You can set up any folder on your device. So let's say you had a folder for documents and stuff. You could have it on your phone, and you could have it on your computer at the same time. Yeah, so this is
encrypted, yeah. No Google Drive, no Dropbox.
Totally, yeah. So it's encrypted in transit. So when it's going between your devices, it's encrypted. Then you're depending on the devices. So if you got a laptop that's full disk encrypted, it's encrypted, right? The phones are full disk encrypted by default. So it's all encrypted, and you're responsible for it, right? You don't have to log into anything. It's literally on your devices.
Sweet. Nice. Okay, great. Good stuff. Okay, you got any last minute things to share? Any news, any updates? I understand the Black Friday sale is underway right now as we speak.
Until when?
Until the end of the month.
Until the end of the month. So yeah, that'll be November 29th and the 30th. So yeah, if you have any questions, check it out here. If you can put the sale page back on the screen, there's a little button in the bottom right-hand corner to chat with us. And again, you get these bulk discounts. If you purchase a phone and a laptop, you get an additional $100 off. If you purchase 4 devices, if you decide to go in with a group of people or a family, you literally get another $400 off. So that's $800 off total. So it's all about getting the bulk discounts, getting a whole bunch of people on board. That way you guys can all use the tools together. That's what it's all about, right? And we also have essentials that are 25% off right now. So it's also a good time to buy essentials. And any questions you have, hit the chat with us button. It goes to real people. We also have a phone button. If you go to contact, you'll be able to see it there if you want to talk to someone. And some exciting news that's coming up is we're going to launch our own cell service that will be coming out in December. Yeah, that'll be it's going to be fast, man. We've been testing it all over the world, and it's just coming out somehow faster than like AT&T or T-Mobile out here in the boonies from the limited tests that we have done. So we're excited about that. That'll be it'll be a virtual cell service, so you won't need a card or anything. And you can use it on your phone. You'll be able to use it on any unlocked phone as well.
Do you have to be on Wi-Fi?
No, it'll get you connected to cell towers.
Wow.
Yeah. You just have to activate it and then you're good.
And it'll be private?
Well, so it's a data only cell service. So that means it's just internet based. You're not going to do phone calls. You're not going to get a phone number from it. It's not going to do text messages, but since everything goes over the internet, you use our VPN. So it's all encrypted. And it is private because it doesn't go through the cell service provider. It doesn't go to your internet service provider. So it's actually even more private way to use your phone.
But you could use some sort of voice over IP or like some sort of other service and still call people, right?
100%, John. Yeah, like that phone number we were looking at earlier, that is just an app you use on your phone and you can call people there and it works over the internet. It'll work through the VPN, no problem.
Wow, cool. Well, that's impressive. All right, you're always innovating and kicking butt, so really cool. Oh, okay, we got a question here. So here's an opportunity for you to talk about some of your competitors and what sets you apart. So we got Mark Frisco says, comment on other privacy phones such as Brax 3. I know there's some other big brands out there. What makes you different, and what are your thoughts on those phones there?
So yeah, this is something that I don't really like disparaging competitors, but as I've gone deeper and deeper into this research, I said that thing earlier and I meant it, which is no other phone comes close to security. These other phones do not have security updates. There's no commitments for security updates, and they're not patching vulnerabilities ahead of time. There's no protection on the lower levels of the phone. So it's like, it's like in a world today, it's like driving a normal car when you could be driving a tank, right? Would you want to use the tank to protect your information, or do you want to use the car? Because the car is just an accident waiting to happen. So from what I've seen, there's no other phone, big tech included, or any of these alternative phones that comes close to the level of security. They don't have these processors that harden the memory or have restrictive memory settings. They don't have these lower level hardening for the memory allocation. They don't have these sandboxes. So like any of these people can choose a cheap Chinese phone, throw an Android version on there. That's what most of these people are doing. I'll give them credit, they've done it, but it doesn't come close to the security of Above Phone, of Graphene OS. And so this is the gold standard that I would recommend to anyone who really cares about their privacy and their security and actually wants it to work and actually wants the support for it.
Right on.
Above Phone / tank phone.
The tank phone, ladies and gentlemen. Anything else is an accident waiting to happen.
Oh,
good stuff. Hey, we want to thank you for sponsoring the program and helping to make this show possible. And thanks not only for putting out this great technology, which is an entrepreneurial endeavor, but you also do all sorts of great grassroots work with Take Back Our Tech and the support that you have for the Freedom Cell Network and the People's Greater Reset movement and everything you're doing to help out with this freedom cause. That's another reason to shop Above, because you're doing all sorts of good stuff for our freedom agorist community out here.
Thank you, John. It's always a pleasure to be here, man. I love contributing and I feel like we're of like mind. I appreciate the work you're doing here, and to everyone in the audience and John and Ryan, much, much love right here from the heart.
All right. Thanks, brother. Take care. All right. Peace, man. All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hakeem, the cell phone dream, Bill Gates's nightmare. It's got a great deal going on their Above phones, especially if you bundle. Head over to livefree.academy. Sorry. That's what I'm used to saying. AbovePhone.com/livefree. That's AbovePhone.com/livefree to get the specials. Again, they are a sponsor of the program. Make sure you use our link. We'll get some love too over at Live Free Academy and the Live Free Now show. AbovePhone.com/livefree. Take advantage of those Black Friday deals today. You will not regret it. You got any parting words there, Mr. Ride Guy, aka Manitty, aka Manitty some moisturizer for my finger that's all jacked up, aka he wants to kill me.
One thing that I'll say that I was really impressed with. I recently went to Houston and hung out with Hakeem.
Drank some whiskey.
No, we didn't drink any whiskey. A couple margaritas. So we were chopping it up, and I asked him, I'm like, well, how much testing do you guys actually do? You know, like, give me the dope, because I want to make sure that this is a reliable and heavily tested product that we're promoting to our audience. And he said, we go through months and months of product development research and all of this kind of stuff and testing before they even bring the product to market. It's not like, you know, some of these other guys that he was talking about where they're slapping these things together and they're shipping it off to customers. They're getting the phones in, they're doing all their due diligence. He has a whole engineer team that's implementing all of the technology, and then they do testing and testing. All right.
Go ahead.
They do testing and testing. I can't even take this seriously. I was doing a great pitch.
Sorry, I just jacked up our sponsor there. Go ahead, testing and testing. Margaritas.
Anyway, they do months and months of testing after their engineers do all of the implementation, and then they roll it out after they're supremely confident that it's going to be a great product and a great user experience for their clients. So after hanging out with Hakeem, I was very, very impressed with the level of due diligence that they have, as well as we talked about the amount of customer service that they provide for all of their clients. So I can't recommend them highly enough. They're the only privacy thing that I would ever recommend to my loved ones, my friends, my family. And we're very proud that Above Phone is a sponsor of the Live Free Now show.
All right. Yeah, you could tell Hakeem's real passionate about it too. So abovephone.com/livefree for those Black Friday specials. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Live Free Now show number 185, bringing you the news, views, tips, and tools you can use to live free, prosperous, and healthy life. Make sure you go to freerogernow.org, freerogernow.org.
Arr, matey, scrub the poop deck on the starboard side. On the tank phone deck. That Bill Gates is gonna walk the plank if it's the last thing I do.
And I'm trying to